Hey guys, sorry I wasn't paying attention to the chat. Thanks for dropping in, appreciate it. That's actually the wet version of the Royal Coachman. Um, these are the dries here with the top wings, and then the wets have the wings kind of back more like this, so they pull through the water a little better. The tail end and the start of the quills are always like the hardest to get to sit right, so this last section here, a lot of people just kind of toss it because it's really hard to work with because it's softer, so you get these little kind of indents on there. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but it'll crush in a little bit just because the fibers are a bit softer. But I mean, give it a try. If it works, great. Tie it in. I think they still look just fine, but they're definitely harder to work with than the middle section of the quill. I'm not sure why it retracted your message there. And you don't need to color in the tag ends with the Sharpie. I just find it's just saves me so much effort and time, because if you just, since it's white, if you have just the smallest little bit poking through, it's really noticeable, so it takes 2 seconds to just color it in with the Sharpie. Also helps me from making the heads a little too big, because I have a tendency to want to cover up every little tab that's sticking out. But yeah, I mean, I'm happy with those wings. Quill wings, it takes a lot of practice, really. That's all it is. It's just a lot of practice to get a quill wing to sit like that and be nice and even and not completely crushed. Actually, most of the practice is just to do it and not think about it. The more you try and muscle it in place and everything, the more they fall apart. You kind of just gotta get it lined up properly and just go for it. I'm happy with that one. I mean, the proportions are really good. I switched over to uni. Am I using uni? Yeah. Switched over to uni thread. I was using some GSP the other day to try and see if I could do these with the GSP thread, and it's just way too slippy. I was able to get the wings in, but I was having a heck of a time getting the heads together after, because it would just slide down, even waxing it. So just switching back to uni thread. It's substantially thinner at 8/0, or is it 6 or 8? 8, yeah, it is 8. My whip finisher go. There we go. I've just got 2 of these to do for my set to be finished, and then we'll be switching to a different type of fly. Ironically, this was the first fly I ever got a fish on, so it's got a real soft spot for me. Yeah, like creek fishing brook trouts and stuff, they just go nuts for this thing. Got just a little bit of a fuzz on the head there from the thread breaking, but it'll be fine. And I like to use head cement and a little bit of nail polish on top. It's just Sally Hansen's Hard as Nails. It helps to hold the quill wings in a little bit. They're going to get trashed up anyway, but you might get a couple more fish out of them before they come apart. We'll just give that a few minutes or a moment here to set up before I put her in the holder. Yeah, hopefully if I make you a mod, then it won't be knocking your chat down like that. I haven't really spent the time to put all the keywords and stuff in. Yeah, the one wing is sitting just a hair higher than the other, but sometimes I think that actually gets you better because of the profile, depending on what angle the fish is going to be coming up on it. Because generally your fish is going to be coming sideways or underneath. So if things are off just a little bit, you know, it's a little more natural. Not everything is exactly symmetrical, so I think they're able to pick out the fact that it has wings a little better. Not that I'm going for that, but that's my theory. We'll run with that. I think I might switch to something a little bigger and shinier for my next set. I might do some basic salmon flies or streamers. Get all that stuff pulled out. I haven't done any of those in a bit. And the ice is just coming off my lake. There's just some open water showing now. Depending on which way the wind's gonna blow, it'll clear up faster, or it'll push all the ice to my side of the lake. One or the other. Got just enough left on here for another tail. Yeah, definitely nice when spring comes and all the little bits of winter are disappearing. Loons are back, so that's a good sign. They actually fly right over my house every night right at dusk. Why, I don't know. They've been doing that for years. Even though their nests and everything are, as far as I know, are in the lake there, but they seem to every night right at as soon as it starts getting dusk, they fly right over my house. Actually amazed at how many flies I get out of one pack of these. This is actually a really old pack. I probably bought this when I was like 16. Yeah, we're just gonna tie in 2 quills, or hurls, I guess. Oh, loons? They're unique. I don't know if I'd say they're pretty sounding. Some people find them terrifying. They have a... God, as a Canadian, I should be able to do my loon impression, but it's a very haunting sound. So some people find it scary, for lack of a better way to say it. They sound very different than all the other animals. But I mean, you know, I grew up with it, so to me, that's the sound of the outdoors, and that's the sound of a good fishing lake, because they only eat fish, and they swim underwater, and they swim like a rocket ship. It's crazy, and they're quite large, yeah. And they have blood red eyes, and they're black and white, so like. They do have a very, very creepy aspect to them because they're carnivores. You know, they eat meat. That's all they eat. But if you see loons around, you know that there's a good amount of fish in the lake because they have to. They're not going to waste their time in a lake that doesn't have fish because they're there to eat. The other downside is they'll follow you and they'll take your fish, which can be. Well, not only annoying, but bad, because you don't want to get them tangled up in your line. Because, I mean, they're a good-sized bird. I don't know how much they'd weigh, but... I don't know. Maybe up to 20, 30 pounds. Like, they're no joke. And if you're in a more populated lake area, they can be pretty ballsy and come, like, right at your boat and stuff. Not that they're going to hurt you or anything. But the other weird aspect is they're very... I don't know, they're very iconic, right? So, like... Besides them kind of being creepers in some aspects, they're also a symbol of good fishing and good hunting and just generally good health for the area that you're in, so... Really not much different than bald eagles. I mean, they're kind of the same. They have a lot of the same jobs in nature to do. I guess the difference with bald eagles is they can scavenge a bit more, where loons will need a live fish and they'll eat it whole. They are a really cool looking bird, though. Just gonna do some red uni floss. I'm definitely gonna get some good video of loons this year, so I want to actually get out and get some fishing videos, and I'll definitely get up close enough to the loons to get some cool videos of them. Because like I said, they're generally, well, if they're above the water anyway, because they can stay under the water for a good long time. I think at least 7 to 10 minutes sometimes. So if you scare them, they'll just take off kind of like a beaver. I like to get 3 wraps with floss if I can manage it. Basically 1 forward, 1 back, and then 1 forward again. Not only does that help build up a little bit of bulk, but that what it'll do is, since I'm using black tying thread, not white or lighter color, when this gets wet, the floss will bleed through, and you'll see that it'll get a much darker color because you'll see the thread underneath. And you do need to have a more even thread base when you're wrapping floss. But yeah, with the black thread, it's going to show through. So if you do 3 wraps or 3 layers, it'll just look better for longer. Then you get kind of a darker, like almost blood red out of it once it gets wet. Those quills must have been just a hair shorter than I thought they were. Well, still got it done, but came right to the end. Excuse me. Yeah, man, they're really cool birds. And yeah, they're super fast under the water. It's like I don't know if you've ever seen otters and that kind of thing flip around underwater, but very similar to that. You just see them like just cooking all over the place because they not only they use their feet, but they'll use their wings and they'll just poof. Yeah, they're pretty crazy birds. Like I said, it's really handy to keep an eye out for them, because if you're looking for, where the fish are, that's what they do all day. That's, they don't survive if they don't know where the fish are. So keeping an eye on their habits and where they go can make a huge difference on you finding anything. But then you got to compete with them, and they'll probably win. Well, let's see if I got a better size one. That one's a bit long. Nah, I think we'll make it work. I'm just going to trim some off the end. I'm surprised I don't have any loon stuff around. I used to have a couple little figurines. I'm not sure where exactly they floated around to. But yeah, I'll try and get some video for you and tag you in it when I get out there, because they'll definitely be there. And they also, well, depending on the size of the lake, but for the most part, you're only going to have one mating pair per lake, and they come back every year. So it's the same loons that have been coming back for years. And they'll have babies, and those babies will go find another lake. If it's a larger lake, you can have 3 or 4 families living on the lake. But for most size lakes we have around here, you generally get one mating pair, and that'll be it. So there we go. Just a little longer, so I'm just going to trim that up and clean it up here. These are just some hackle ends that I want to use up. The end of the hackles are nice and soft. I mean, I'd like it a little more softer like they are down on the end here. They're a little bit on the stiffer side up top there, but they'll be just fine. But you could use hen hackle, really anything you have. If you don't want to wrap it like this, you can also just put a beard in, or 2 cheeks on the side. That's my preference with some things, but in this case I would just want to use these hackle ends I have up, which are just the leftovers from the dry flies I was doing earlier. No point wasting them when I get the job done just fine. And it's a beautiful kind of burnt orange color. Well, this will be the last fly, because I actually got to get my son over to volunteer at the food bank. For our little local food bank. And I'm just preening these back. Palm ring, I guess, would be the correct term. And just trying to get each wrap after the other. That'll do. And if you tie off, just try your best not to trap more than you need to. If I can do it without trapping any, I'm happy. Like that one. That actually went pretty well. But don't fuss over it too much, because we're going to be pinning it down anyway. Just going to get 3 wraps in there. Okay, I always like to do a save point before I cut the hackle off, just in case I bump my bobbin or something. Just a good habit to get into. Save you some trouble. Good habit to get into, and it doesn't build up any real bulk. There. Now we're going to separate that somewhat in the middle. Doesn't actually have to really be in the middle, because as you're twisting it, the fiber's going to want to go left or right depending on how direction you wrapped on. But you just want to have an even set of hackle when you pin it down. And then I'm going to go back in just on top of the rachis wraps on the top here. Kind of catch them and then bring it back down. And that'll... I'm not necessarily trying to pin them back further, I'm just... Might have gone a little bit over there. We'll see how it goes. Oh no, that worked out well. But yeah, you're going kind of a 45 loop, and that'll pin them in. You really don't need to do that. I just find it makes it cleaner for the wing. Some people prefer to have it sticking out where their wing is and have the hackle going up and around the wing. Totally personal preference, not going to make any real difference as long as you can get the wings set proper. If you're having trouble setting your wings though, then moving your hackle out of the way might help you. Yeah, I'm happy with that. That worked out well. Oh, I don't think I got enough left on these quills to do that, do I? Well, let's give her. I'm just going to give her a try here and see if I can get it done. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but you can use all sorts of different ways to get your quills the right size. I just like to use a hook, because then it matches the gape of your hook with what you're tying. So in this case, I'll use the hook and draw out the amount of quill I need. That'll break it right there. And that way each side's going to be even. In this case, because the other quills that I got left there is much smaller, I don't think we're going to get an even set here, but I'm going to try and get as close as I can. My fingers are going to be in the way, but basically what I'm doing is I'm pinching, so there's this gap like that, and I'll pinch across, and then I won't be able to show it on the camera because it's the wrong angle, but I'm pinching so that gap is open. So I got both the part I'm cutting and the feather there. Main reason for that is when I finish cutting, it doesn't just fall and cause a problem. I'm going to take the bottom of my scissor point and poke that up through the hole that I made, the gap there, and that way I know I'm cutting right to the back. And I generally find it easier to go up from the bottom. That way you should be able to get it in one slice, get a nice clean cut. It'll help them from falling all over the place. And they're held together kind of like Velcro. So they're really strong in one direction, or fairly strong in one direction, and incredibly weak in the other. And yeah, I really don't have much left to work there, but we're gonna try and make that work. There's really not much left on there. And again, that's the softest part. So we'll see. Maybe we get lucky. Ooh. Yeah, I don't know, that's pretty short. We'll see how ugly it looks. What am I saying? It's gonna be perfect. Gonna be friggin' spot on. Well, she's a bit short, but I mean. I don't really want to crack open another quill here just for this one fly, unfortunately. I got plenty. I got a whole bag full, but like I said, I want to wrap this up so I can get my boy to volunteering. But that'll go in my own personal box. It looks good from that side. I'll go in my own personal box, not going to make any difference for creek fish. Use the magic marker to impart its magic. Look at how that just cleans that up all nice. Not even any thread on it. Looks like I got one wrap. A little far on that side, but no. This is just going to be a quick creek fishing fly anyway. There's a couple little tiny creeks around here I want to try. This is definitely something I will throw there because they work real well. And brook trout love them. Don't have a whole lot of brook trout right where I am, but there's plenty of lakes within an hour's drive that have a lot. In hindsight, I probably should have grabbed another quill so I was ready for that, but well, thanks for hanging out, everyone. I'm just gonna get some head cement on this guy. And you know, overall, I'm okay with that. We'll call him Gimpy, and Gimpy will catch us some fish. There we go. But yeah, traditionally most people wouldn't even bother using that part of the feather. They just throw it away because it's very soft, and you'll probably only get 5 or 6 casts out of it before it starts to kind of come apart. But even after they get all beat up, they still work quite well. So there's that. Eye cleaned out. Oop. That was unfortunate. There we go. There you go. Gimpy the Royal Coachman. Thanks for coming out, everyone. You guys all have a great day. Thunder, hope you have good luck on the river and lake there. Hey, Dustin's here. And Pilgrims. Sorry, guys, didn't see you there. Thanks for stopping in, though. I'm going to end the stream here. I got to get my boy off. You guys have a good one.